Live Fit Podcast, episode 82. Summer's coming. Don't panic.
Welcome to the Live Fit Podcast with Glenn Johnson, your resource for all things that contribute to good health. You will hear expert advice and interviews with leading authorities on fitness, food, fat loss, mindset, and the mind-body connection. You will find show notes, articles, and health programs at livefitpodcast.com.
Yes, it is time once again for the Live Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Johnson. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm so glad you're here. This is episode 82. Summer's coming, but there is no need to panic. Because in this week's episode, I'm going to help you put your summer preparations into perspective. We're just a few days into spring now, and I know some of you are feeling a little anxious about summer coming, about being in less clothing, maybe a swimsuit in public. Maybe you put on a little more winter fluff than you wanted to. That's okay. You're not a bad person. There's still things that you can do. There's still plenty of time. And today, I'm going to help you figure out what you need to do, what you can do, what you're willing to do to trim down the excess fluff, to get into the fitness and the shape that you want to. Let you get out there in public and be confident, help you do the things that you want to do this summer, because without a nice, healthy, fit body, it's going to be a lot harder to enjoy the summer the way you want to. Hey, last week I talked to you about Live Fit America. It's a nonprofit organization that I recently created, and I have a fundraiser to help fund it. It is called Tons of Fun, and this is a really cool event. This is basically a lift-a-thon, a weightlifting competition to see how many tons you or a person, the participants, can lift in a 30-minute period. Now, I've seen some people lift quite a lot of weight. I mean, a ton is 2,000 pounds, which is pretty impressive. Now, not many people, if any, can lift that all at once, but it's additive, it's cumulative. So if you lifted 100 pounds 20 times, boom, there's your ton. Anyways, this fundraiser is going on in the Portland, Oregon area the first weekend of May. It's going to be the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th at various gyms around town. A lot of people are going to be here. A lot of people are going to show up, really try to show off and show everybody how much they can lift. And the interesting thing is, the small people can often lift more than the bigger ones because, well, maybe I shouldn't give the secret away, but lifting lighter weights more often, more reps, usually adds up to a larger number than a heavier weight with less reps. It's true. So anyways, I just wanted to keep you up to date on that. Everything is moving along nicely. Money raised from Tons of Fun is going to help empower people who don't have the power or the knowledge or the gumption or the confidence, or more importantly, the money to improve their own fitness. They can't take a college class. They don't have the time. They don't have the money, whatever it might be. Maybe they just aren't interested in taking a college class, but yet they want to get fit and healthy. They just don't know where to turn. As I'm sure you've noticed, there's a lot of minutia out there about health and fitness, and I'm going to clear some of that up for you today. But what about people who aren't listening to this? What about people who still don't quite understand? Should they go paleo? Should they go vegan? Should they go gluten-free? All these things, it's kind of confusing. And, there is no one right answer. But that is why Live Fit America is going to put on workshops to help people figure out what they can do and how they can do it, and most importantly, do it all on a budget. So if you're interested in participating or donating, please go to livefitamericas. livefitamericas. I will have a link in the show notes for you. But first, I have some health news that you can use. In 2012, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that less than 25% of children aged 12 to 15 achieved the recommended 60 minutes of physical activity per day. A new study finds that the majority of the activity kids get is, in fact, at school. And that makes a lot of sense because that's where most of their waking hours are spent. But a new study published in Pediatrics found that 42% of adolescents' physical activity takes place at school. A close second is outside of the home and outside of school. And this is because they're outside. They're doing things. They're walking, they're running, they're skating, they're playing sports, they're climbing on jungle gyms, they're in the woods, they're out in the field. Whatever they might be doing when they're outside of the house, they're moving their bodies. So for those of you who think that building eye-hand coordination and some of the other skills you might get with video games, that may be true, but it's not doing their body any good. And speaking from experience as a personal trainer, I found that adults who were active as children and let themselves go as adults can regain their physical prowess. At least they can get it back pretty good in a fairly short amount of time, whereas those who were never physically active, they really have an uphill battle the whole time. They can certainly improve. They absolutely can improve, but they don't have that foundation that others build when they're younger. So please, if you have kids, get them outside, get them moving, whatever it takes. If they like a sport, a physical game, anything is better than nothing. So more is better than less, to a point, of course, but they should be active. They really should. It definitely helps, and there's research to prove it. Now, speaking of schools, last December, President Obama signed the Every Student Succeeds Act, and this replaces No Child Left Behind. This act will bring more funding to our K-12 schools to reorganize the scholastic focus to a well-rounded curriculum. And guess what? And I'm smiling here. It emphasizes physical education. From about the time I got out of high school, the funding for PE in schools has been dwindling. It's been declining until now. It's in such a sad state. Some people go through high school and don't have any PE at all. My kids are in elementary school and they get PE twice a week, which is better than some, but not as good as others. I had it every single day when I was in elementary school, and every day for the first 2 years in high school. Then it was not required anymore. But fortunately, with the Every Student Succeeds Act, this is a thing of the past. And this is important, of course, because the growing obesity problem in America is really becoming obvious and is putting our country at a weakened state. It's increasing our healthcare costs. It's decreasing the health and the fitness of our citizens. Now, this act is going to value the health and the fitness of people. It's going to encourage, develop, and improve the skills of our citizens. And it takes a huge step in improving the health and fitness industry itself, as well as the lives of Americans. And finally, from the Resistance Training is Good for Everyone file, a new study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that resistance training is beneficial for obese teens. Yay! I'm sure you're not surprised. I wasn't, but it's nice to see that a study can back up what we all know. In a 12-week study of non-diabetic adolescents with a mean age of 14, they found significant improvement in body fat, waist circumference, hip-to-waist ratio, endothelial function, which is the blood vessels, hemodynamics, metabolic profiles, and overall fitness. So, not only should you run, jump, and play, but you should do it against some resistance. Now, running and jumping is fighting the resistance of gravity. That's great. We should do stuff with our arms, too. That's why jungle gyms are so good. You're climbing, push-ups, pull-ups, pulling things. Anytime you're lifting weight against resistance with your arms, you are strengthening your upper body. So keep up with it. Yay, kids! Now let's get rid of those winter blues. Seasons change, and here we are in spring already. Did it take you by surprise? Kind of did me. Is summer going to take you by surprise? As the weather warms up, people are going to be spending more time outside wearing less clothing. A swimsuit might be in your future. How does that make you feel? Do you feel good? I hope so. But that is not always the case. Many people feel panicked at the thought of wearing a swimsuit in just a few months, or maybe even less. Maybe spring break, you're going to head out to a place that's warm and encourage you to wear less clothing, maybe a swimsuit. Are you good with that? I hope so. If you are, fantastic. If you're not, once again, you're not a bad person. It's okay. This is a struggle humans deal with. Some people gain weight in the wintertime. It's kind of a hibernation. Settle down, get cozy and warm. It starts with the holidays. Yeah, I talked about that too. And then we eventually have to come out of it. Some people, on the other hand, they gain weight in the summer. There's more barbecues and sitting around drinking beer and things like that. So whatever your season is for backing off, perhaps it's time to get going again. Well, that's what I'm going to help you with. Have you noticed that social media is just blooming with tips and tricks and hacks and programs and diets to help you get slim for summer? There are cleanses and detox and diets and smoothies and juices and shakes. Oh my! There are workout programs for your butt, for your thighs, for your belly. There is advice to eliminate certain things like grains or gluten or sugar or alcohol or animal products. There's no shortage of that. And there are also the do one thing tips that sound so simple and so appealing. And I am not disparaging any of them because they all could work. But it seems that everybody has advice for you on how to get slim for the summer. Heck, even I have advice for you on how to get slim for the summer. I have programs. I have health coaching. And I'm talking to you right now, and I'm going to tell you about ways that you can slim down this summer. But the difference here is I'm not directly trying to sell you anything. This is not a webinar. You don't have to sign up for anything. I, of course, want you to know that I have something to offer, but this is not a hard sell. This is strictly informational to share with you what I know, what my experience has taught me about these different techniques that so many people are using. To do this, I need to go over a couple of the basic categories, and I will explain as I go. There are many different categories for weight loss. There are cleanses. There are fasts, which doesn't really take a whole lot of explanation, but actually it does in recent years because even that has been altered. There are diets. There are diets. Boy, are there diets. And there's also tons of workouts. So let me first talk about cleanses. I like cleanses, actually. Occasionally, they're a really good way to reset your system. They'll clean your palate. They'll clean your thought processes about food, kind of clean your mental palate. They'll also build a little bit of confidence that you are not ruled by food. You are in charge. You're the boss. Next, there's fasting. I like fasts as well, for the same reason as cleanses, because they kind of reset your system. I haven't done a fast in a while, but I used to about 4 times a year, pretty much seasonally. I didn't have a schedule for it, just whenever I felt I needed it. And I would do a 24-hour fast. I did it because, like I said, I felt like I needed it, and I would find that I was becoming less and less satisfied with food. I would eat more and more food. I would eat worse and worse food, still growing less and less satisfied, till finally, could kind of hear a needle scratching on a record. I'd say, screw it, I'm done. I'm going a day without eating. And I would pick probably a weekend when I didn't have to do anything, when I didn't need to think, when I wasn't in school, wasn't working any kind of physical jobs that I had to do. Basically, I could just be mellow during the day, still walk around, but just not hit it. I would eat a dinner, and then I wouldn't eat again for 24 hours. I would just have water, hot water, cold water. I'd have herbal tea. That's about it. That's about it. Mostly just a ton of water and a lot of peppermint tea, sometimes lemon water, things like that. I've played around with other versions of fasts, but basically if you're putting in calories, it doesn't matter. It's not a fast. You could call it a cleanse, but it's not a fast. A fast is 0 calories. Now, I know there's intermittent fasting where people will fast for 18 hours. So basically they're just skipping breakfast, maybe even skipping lunch and eating dinner that day. And then the next day's normal. And the day before that was normal. But I don't really call that a fast. It's just a long night. Technically, it is a fast because that's why we eat breakfast or break fast in the morning, because we're breaking our fast, which may only be 8 to 10, maybe even 12 hours. So it's not quite that long, but it is good for your body to kind of let the digestive system rest without putting a lot in it. So why do I fast? Well, once again, it clears my head. It gives me power. It shows me that I'm in charge. I'm the boss. When I come out of the fast, well, first of all, let me say, it's important to come out of it properly. Breakfast foods are a certain type of foods for a reason, because it's gentler on the body to eat a light breakfast food. Fruit is a great food to eat when you're coming out of a fast. Now, pretty much anything that's light and small, not super heavy, would be good. Sushi would be good. Any kind of fruit would be good. Eggs, even cereal, things like that would be good. I absolutely do not recommend pizza. No bueno. I've tried that. It ruins it. One time my wife and I were fasting and we thought, well, let's go for some pizza. I wasn't totally dying for it, but I wanted it. So we had it and we felt lousy afterwards. I felt mentally guilty and I felt physically lousy. I felt like I'd wasted that fast. I totally wasted it because I came out of it with one of the worst foods I could have. So I wasn't very happy about that, and I did not do that again. So come out of your fast sensibly and gently. But it's really amazing how different you feel about food after 24 hours without. Next time you feel a little bit hungry, you're not going to panic. Oh my God, I'm hungry. No, it's just like, all right, I'm hungry. I'll eat when I can. I'm going to eat healthy, though, because that's what makes my body feel good. It's also amazing how you feel when you're not constantly putting food into your body and you don't have all that digestion going on and the blood sugar highs and lows. You just feel a lot cleaner. You really do. It's, fast is another type of cleanse. So I wholeheartedly recommend it, if for nothing else than to just try it. Even if you don't want to, lose weight, or if you don't feel like you need a reset, try a fast if you've never done one. Give it a shot. What do you got to lose? Okay, diets. Well, there are probably as many diets in the world as there are grains of sand. Yeah, I may be exaggerating a little bit, but you get the idea. There are a lot of diets. Which one's right? Well, I think the better question is which one's right for you. Let's see. There are diets to help you eat less calories. That's what most of them do. Some of them try to simplify it by saying, don't eat a certain type of food, or only eat this type of food, or only eat these 3 or 4 foods. But basically what they're doing is they're trying to get you to limit your calories. Most of them will work if you follow it, but if you go on a diet, you'll eventually go off the diet. And when you go off the diet, are you going to go back to eating the way you were? Well, if you do, then you're going to end up back to where you were. So I don't recommend really going on a diet. But my caveat to that is diets can be a useful tool, just like a fast or just like a cleanse can be a useful tool. If you feel like your eating is out of control, follow a diet strictly for a limited time. Set it in advance how long you're going to follow it and what you're going to do when you're no longer following it. Are you going to gradually wean out of it, or are you going to go back to a sensible form of eating? Not necessarily how you were when you were out of control, but something sensible that's realistic that you can do, that you can maintain. that is also good for your body. Okay, next is elimination. I'm not going to poo-poo the value of avoiding certain unhealthy ingredients or foods such as artificial sweeteners or sugars or processed starches or even meat or some of the other things that people avoid, grains, glutens, things like that. If you don't want to eat those for one reason or another, that's fine. That's totally great, as long as it's not to the point where you're going to develop a shortage of a certain nutrient. I also don't want you following it to the point where you're going to become orthorexic. We don't need to develop any sort of disordered eating when you're trying to make yourself more fit and healthy. Avoiding sugar is really a good idea. It's not needed. We don't need sugar. We like it. We want it. Our brains want it. Our emotions want it. But you don't need it for good health. So if you want to get that out of your diet, fine with me. Same with artificial sweeteners. Fine with me. But I don't want you to be so rigid about it that if you slip up and accidentally have some, that you beat yourself up about it. Have some now and then if you really, really want it. But make it now and then. Now, elimination diets can be great. And I do recommend trying to eliminate something from your diet because you never know if something's bothering you until you go without it and then gradually work it back in. Dairy, for example. Are you allergic to dairy? Do you have any issues with dairy? Maybe you don't know because you've never been off of it long enough. Go a week or 2 or 3 without any kind of dairy and then have a little bit and see what you think. Does your body like it? Or does your body not like it? I know from experience, my body loves dairy. It really does. It loves dairy. I've tried going without it before. I made it a day and a half without milk. I could go longer without some of the other dairies, but I got to have milk in some form, whether it's warm, whether it's cold, whether it's mixed with something or not. I still need to have it. My body really needs it, but I know that because I've tried it. I've experimented. Now, grains, I can flat out go without. I love bread. I love toast. I love steamed wheat berries. I love all kinds of other grains too, and oatmeal and all those things. I don't eat them very often, and when I do, I don't eat large quantities, but I still like to eat them. But I went a month without any grains at all. And, you know, I had some temptations here and there, but when I started it back up again, I didn't have any negative responses. So I go ahead and have it now whenever I want it, whenever I feel the need. Now, if you're allergic to something like gluten, just don't play around with it. Just don't have it. Just don't. There's no reason. Yeah, sure, you can sneak it in here and there, but you know what? If you're allergic, and your body's going to respond no matter what. It's not like I was just now saying with the grain, I can take it or leave it. My body is fine without it. If you're allergic, just do without. Now, with the theory of eliminating certain foods, there's also the opposite theory of adding in certain foods. And this would be adding in really good, healthy foods to kind of crowd out the bad foods. Now, if you're a junk food junkie, you got to have your Taco Bell, your McDonald's, your fries, whatever it is that you really like, your chips, who knows, whatever it is. If you start adding in salads and broccoli and cauliflower and fish and whole grain breads or, brown rice, things like that, you're not going to have a lot of room left for the other foods that you may have been eating. So that's the add-in or the crowd-out theory. Let's shift our focus now to physical activity. Pretty much anything you do that's more than you're used to doing is going to be good for your body. There are, of course, limits to that. So let's keep that straight. And I won't say it again. But let's say you like walking. Go for a walk, but make it a brisk one. Walk like you're trying to get somewhere quickly. Here's another way to think about it. Walk like there's a creepy guy following you. If you like running, run a little farther, run a little faster, run up a hill. Do something to make it more challenging. If you like working out at home to home videos, do it. If you like going to the gym, do it. But challenge yourself. Do it bigger. Do it harder. Do it faster. Do it better. Do it stronger. Just make it a little bit more difficult in one way or another. Switch it around. One day go longer, another day go heavier, another day go shorter and heavier, another day do it completely different. Reverse your routine. Do different exercises. Try things new. Take a Zumba class. Take a yoga class. Anything that's new and different for you is going to be beneficial. When I was in the Navy, I was going to the gym every single day, probably 2 hours a day on weekdays and longer on weekends because I had nothing else to do. And then on one Sunday, I played soccer, and I really gave it my all. And I felt I was super fit because I was used to doing everything, and I mean everything in this gym. I would take every type of class. I would use every machine. I would swim. I would do everything. I was in really, really good shape. But the next day after soccer, I was so sore. I was walking like a mummy. It was horrible. It was kind of satisfying in a sense because I knew that I really did something great as far as different, but that's exactly what happened. I did something different. I wasn't used to playing soccer. I was used to doing step classes or yoga or biking or running, but not soccer. And that really messed me up, but I was stronger for it. So when I went out and played soccer the next week, it really wasn't a big deal. Just remember, anything you're used to doing, your body's more efficient at. So change it up. Now, we're at what I truly wanted to get to, and this is intuition, intuitive activities, and intuitive eating. It really all comes down to that, and that, I think, is everybody's goal, whether they know it or not. Now, I'm an intuitive eater. I'm an intuitive exerciser. If I'm hungry, I eat. It's funny because sometimes I'll ask my wife, hey, you want lunch? You hungry? She'll automatically, without even considering it, she'll ask me what time it is. And I'll say, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm hungry. Let's eat. But on the other hand, if I'm not hungry, doesn't matter what time it is, I'm not going to eat. However, I do intercept that sometimes. If let's say I have to go teach a class for 3 or 4 hours, I will eat beforehand because I don't want to get in the middle of that class and be so hungry I can't think straight. That's just not going to go very well. So even if I'm not hungry, I will sometimes eat some good nutrition. It has to be good nutrition because I need to for the future. Now that's another thing. There's times when I have open time, but I haven't eaten in a while. And I don't want to eat. I'm busy. I just don't feel like eating. But I'll eat anyways because I know I need some nutrients. Now, I'm not going to eat a candy bar. I'm going to eat something really healthy. Sometimes I'll just drink a protein shake. That way I get the nutrients down in me quick and easy, and they're easily digestible. Saves me time, and it gives my body what it really needs. And you know what? I always feel better after that. Even if I didn't think I was hungry, if I didn't think I needed anything, once I get that in me, I definitely feel better. And then I go, yep, okay. Now, this is all mostly intuition. My intuition tells me that even though I'm not hungry now, I will be later. I have an opportunity to eat now. I won't later, so I'm going to eat now. Or right before I started recording this, I was hungry. I ate a really good dinner, nice and healthy, but I needed something to get me through this. And it was 11 o'clock at night. But so what? I needed some nutrients, and here I am. I'm wide awake and doing great. All the diets and workout programs and personal trainers in the world won't give you the body you want for a lifetime. You need to know what your body actually wants, not what your mind or your emotions want. Remember this, food is fuel. Your body needs nutrients. It needs macronutrients. These are protein, carbohydrates, fats, oxygen, and water. It needs large amounts of all of those. It also needs smaller amounts of things that we call micronutrients. These are vitamins and minerals. Now, learning to listen to your body will allow you to give your body what it needs, not what your brain wants, what your body actually needs. The trick is to listen. Listen to what your body wants. Here's an example. Now, I get scoffed at a lot from people who want to make me wrong, but take, for example, if I have a craving for ice cream, maybe I just ate dinner, I don't need the calories, I'm plenty full from a good meal. I stop and dissect, why is it I want ice cream? What is it about ice cream that I really actually want? Is it the cold? Is it the wet? Is it the protein, the calcium, the sugar, the chocolate, or whatever else is in the ice cream? What is it I really want? So I'll dissect it. I'll take it apart, and I will try to quench my desire with something less, let's say, harmful, less damaging, less calories. First thing I start off with is a cold glass of water, because ice cream is wet and it's also cold. So I have a cold glass of water. Another thing to know is, very often when we crave a food, we're actually just dehydrated and we need water, and we're mixing up the sensation. Our bodies are saying, hey, I'm thirsty, and you're reading it as, hey, I want ice cream. You thought of ice cream for some reason. You were uncomfortable, and ice cream makes you more comfortable. That could be why. There's a lot going on with emotions, and it's really hard to separate your emotions of what your mind wants or what your emotions want with what your body actually needs. So let's say you're trying not to eat ice cream. You have a cold glass of water. Give it maybe 5 minutes. If you still want that ice cream, what else could you get that you're not getting from the water? Do you want sugar? Do you want calcium? Maybe some milk would help. Maybe a piece of fruit. Try an orange, because that's cold and wet and sweet, and it has some vitamins. You know what I've actually done before? This works quite well. When I'm craving something sweet, I'll have a spoonful of sugar. That's it, 15 calories. I hold it in my mouth, let it dissolve, really get a good feeling of it. Have some water after that. And it's satisfying. It really is. You can say it's not as fun as eating a cookie, but why does food have to be fun? I mean, are you eating for entertainment? Or are you eating to fuel your body? Now, if you want to eat for entertainment, own it. Know that you're eating for entertainment. But I don't want you lying to yourself. I've eaten for entertainment before, I'll tell you that. I don't do it very often, but I have done it before. Especially when I'm bored. I'm a bored eater. What kind of eater are you? So, if the water and the orange or the spoonful of sugar doesn't quench your desire for ice cream, go ahead and have the ice cream and enjoy it. Really enjoy it. But here's the thing. I'll bet you eat less of it, and I'll bet you enjoy it more. Because it's not a drug at that point. It's something you genuinely want. So enjoy it. Have it. That's it. Go ahead. It's fine. You have my permission. The point is, do what you can to dissect what your body really, really wants, what it needs. Separate it from your emotions. Now, don't worry if you're not great at this right off. If you've never done this sort of thing, you're probably not going to be very skilled at it. I've been working on meditation on and off, mostly off, for 20 years. Mostly off, but I still go back to it because I know it's valuable. I know I can do it. And I've started up again, and I'm getting somewhere for the first time ever. And I'm not going to say anything yet because I want to get a little more traction on it before I tell you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and what I'm getting out of it. But let's just say it's worth it. Eating intuitively is one of the things I work on with my clients in my health coaching program. You can change your mindset from being a slave to your food to the exact opposite way around. Let food nourish you. Now, I exercise intuitively too. And what this means is, well, first of all, I exercise every day in some way, shape, or form. I'm physically active every day. Generally, I wake up in the morning, I do a few things, push-ups, squats, and then I go for a walk. That's my physical activity just to start me up, just to wake me up, get the blood circulating, the synovial fluid going, loosen up the joints and the muscles from laying in bed all night. And then later on in the day, I'll do something more vigorous. I might go for a run or a bike ride or a swim, or I'll hit the gym, or I'll just do a bunch more push-ups. Maybe another walk, a longer walk. I'm doing something though. And I do this intuitively because I can feel it. It's like, oh, I need to get out. And in fact, before I started this recording, I went for a walk, walked around my neighborhood because I just felt like I needed it. Do you feel that way? Or is it just me? Well, I think what happened is I purposely told myself and made myself exercise for so long, for so many years. Now I feel like I'm missing something if I don't, which makes perfect sense. And I'm okay with that. The point I want to make here with all of this, eating and exercising, is give your body what it needs and what it wants. And I want you to notice it. When you give it to it, notice it. When you give in to the ice cream craving, notice how your body feels. And is it your body or your mind you're noticing? Let's just notice them both. And here's a tie-in to meditation, because meditation will help you understand and hear and interpret these signals much more clearly. It might be a good idea to take notes. Take notes how you feel before a workout and after a workout, before eating a meal and after, before eating that chocolate bar and after. Be honest. You're not going to get anywhere if you're not. But once you start noticing it, keep doing it. Don't just do it once, because it's a skill, like anything. Like with my meditation, I never did it long enough for enough days in a row to really say I gave it a fair shake. But if you want to get better, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to train yourself. You're going to have to listen. This is school in a sense. What do you do when you go to school? Let's say math class. You sit there and you learn and you learn and you go over and over and over and over and over and over. And eventually, you know what 2 plus 2 equals. It might take a while, but you get it. Same with spelling. This is hard stuff. All the letters have to be in the right order. Got to have the right letters there too. It takes a while. And how do you get there? Practice. So that's what's going to happen here. Even though you might be an adult, you're really well practiced at all these other things. Spelling comes second nature, and math is not even a thought anymore. It just pops right out of your head. Well, you might have to practice this if it's new to you. If you started learning a different language right now, you'd have to practice it, wouldn't you? Well, that's what this is. So this spring, you can go on a diet. You could use a cleanse. You can sign up for my health coaching. Whatever you do, please do it consciously. Do it with a goal in mind. Do it for a reason. Be aware of your body, for the good, for the bad, but be aware of it so you can use that experience, that education to better yourself. Let me know if I can help you. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Live Fit Podcast. Please subscribe and share with someone you care about. Read show notes, articles, resources, and learn more about our weight management programs at livefitpodcast.com. Once again, thanks for listening, and always remember to live fit.